How do you measure the prosperity of a nation? One way governments do this is by looking at family budgets. Since the 1960s, the federal poverty measure has helped us understand how many families are struggling and identify families that need the most help. But that measurement is still in place, and unfortunately, we're no longer getting an accurate picture of where we stand as a country in addressing poverty. That's why we at Half in 10 are glad that the Obama administration is taking steps to create a supplemental, more accurate federal poverty measure to stand alongside the old one. While the traditional measure will still be used to determine whether individual families are eligible for federal assistance, the new one will provide a much clearer picture of where we stand in the fight to bring more families into the middle class. To understand why we need this new measure, let's look at the Jones family. In the 1960s, food was about a third of the Joneses' budget. Hence, the federal poverty measure was calculated by multiplying the food budget by 3. But today, the Joneses are spending more on such things like rent, transportation, health care, and child care, in turn reducing the amount they spend on food to a seventh of their family budget. All the while, the federal poverty measure has stayed the same, only adjusting for inflation, pushing our nation's definition of poverty more and more out of the mainstream. And there are other things to consider. When the Joneses put together their family budget, they include the work supports they receive, like food stamps, and the Earned Income Tax Credit. They've also moved, and the cost of living in their new location is more expensive. None of these programs or factors were accounted for in the original federal poverty measure. The supplemental poverty measure tackles all these issues, creating a threshold that better represents what it takes to meet basic needs, while demonstrating the impact of supports like child care assistance and housing vouchers. It will also present a more realistic picture of the actual cost of living where people live. At Half in 10, we believe that if all levels of government, business, and engaged individuals join together, we can cut poverty in this country in half in the next 10 years and bring millions of families into the middle class. And thanks to the supplemental poverty measure, we will be able to tell if we're succeeding.